often. And, well, I do like to win, Don.
This is CNN Tonight. I'm Don Lemon. An in-depth interview with Donald Trump at his Manhattan headquarters in Trump Tower on the day when Russia conducts its first airstrikes on Syria. Tough talk from Trump on President Obama.
Putin doesn't respect our president. He probably doesn't respect our country very much because he's gone through so many years of Obama, but he doesn't respect our president. It's a real problem.
Plus Trump on the art of the deal.
I'm a real businessman. Whether people like me or don't like me, I'm a real businessman.
Tonight, my interview with the man who just told a crowd in New Hampshire this.
If I get elected president, we will indeed make America great again. That I can tell you. That I can tell you.
So you come in, the first thing you do, you hand me these polls.
Just got them myself.
And they're good, though.
Nice. Yeah, they're
Can we talk about this Suffolk University poll? It's a brand new poll.
Sure.
You're 23%. You're the front runner. The two people who are second, Ben Carson, Carly Fiorina, they're in second place. You almost doubled them, triple Jeb Bush. Be honest with me. Did you ever think that you would be to this point? What's your reaction?
Well, I do like to win, Don, in my life. You know, I mean, I haven't lost too often, and I would think that I went into it originally because I thought I was going to do well, but I'm a little ahead of schedule, and I'm under budget. You know, it's like I build. I'm under budget, and I'm ahead of schedule, meaning I haven't spent nearly as much. I would have thought I would have spent about $20 million by this time on advertising, and I've spent nothing because I seem to be getting a lot of press, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we're resonating with the people, but we're getting a lot of coverage, so I haven't had to advertise, which is nice.
I want to talk more about the polls and get to the race a little bit later, but
okay,
you know, I've got to get to foreign policy now, especially what is going on with Syria and Russia, because a big international news now is Russia, you know, striking Syria for the first time now, giving the U.S. about an hour's notice.
Sure. They don't respect the U.S. They don't respect.
What do you make of this ratcheting up, though?
Well, number one, they don't respect our president. They really don't respect us anymore, and that's why they're doing this. At the same time, if they want to hit ISIS, that's okay with me. I'm not going to be saying we have to do it all. You know, we're like the policemen of the world. I'm a very strong person when it comes to the military. You and I have had this conversation before. I think it'll be my big sleeper, you know, as a sleeper subject for me. I think one of my strengths will be the military. I'm very, very strong on the military. I believe so strongly in it. We're going to build a tremendous military. Nobody's going to mess with us. But at the same time, we have to be respected, and frankly, we're not being respected. Nevertheless, I love the fact that ISIS is being hit by Russia.
But according to U.S. officials, that the areas that are being hit are not ISIS strongholds.
And
these are areas that are propping up Assad, they believe.
Right, and I'm hearing that, and I hear they're hitting both, but I'm hearing that. And then you say to yourself, Assad, bad guy, killed hundreds of thousands of people, but you wonder what's going to happen with the other people that we don't even know who they are. We always give weapons. We give billions of dollars in weapons, and then they turn them against us. We have no control. So we don't know the other people that we're supposed to be backing. We don't even know who we're backing. Russia and Iran, and of course we have made Iran strong by giving them $150 billion in one of the dumbest deals I've ever seen. So you have Russia and Iran are backing Assad. At the same time, my primary thing is getting rid of ISIS, because ISIS really does stand for evil.
Here's what you said. You said, let's just let the Russians take care of it. But U.S. officials, again, are saying that these airstrikes were not targeting ISIS. They were targeting the opposition to Assad. Do you want to change? Would you change your position on that at all?
Look, I want to invest trillions of dollars in rebuilding our country. I want to create a tremendously strong military, stronger than we've ever had before, and really technologically strong. We need technology. We're the king of technology. But that's what I want to do, and I want to invest money in our country. We've invested so much money in the Middle East, and we have nothing for it. You know, Russia, if you think about the old Soviet Union, you know where they went bad? They went into Afghanistan. They were there for years, and they virtually went bankrupt as a nation, and that's when it all split up. If Russia wants to go in, and if Russia wants to fight, in particular ISIS, and they do, and one of the reasons they do is because they don't want ISIS coming into their country, and that's going to be the next step. So that's why they're there.
So you actually believe that they are fighting ISIS in that?
I think they will be fighting ISIS. I think they're going to also probably try and pop up Assad and help him out. And frankly, who are we backing? We don't even know. I was with a major leader the other day. They don't even know who we're backing. And if you look at Libya, What did we do in Libya? It's a mess. Nobody knows what's going on. You take a look at Libya. You take a look at Iraq. We spent $2 trillion, thousands of lives, wounded warriors in Iraq. What do we have? We have nothing. And by the way, Iran is taking over Iraq as sure as you're sitting there.
How would you handle Putin, though? Because you know the icy relationship that Putin and
well, there's
and our
no
president
respect.
have.
It's a question of respect. It's like deals. I do deals. That's what I do. I do really good at deals. The other side has to respect you. Putin doesn't respect our president. He probably doesn't respect our country very much because he's gone through so many years of Obama, but he doesn't respect our president. It's a real problem.
Listen, you've got Syria, you've got Russia and the U.S., but flying in the same place.
Right.
I mean, one bad move, and that, as you say, huge, that's a huge problem. Don't we need some rules of engagement?
A couple of bad moves, maybe not one, a couple of bad moves. You have World War III over Syria, right? I don't think so, all right? I don't think so. Look, if Russia wants to go in there, it would have been nice if we went in as a unified front, to be honest with you. But if Russia wants to go in there and knock the hell out of ISIS and maybe stabilize them, this migration, this big migration, where now they're talking about bringing 200,000 people into the United States. And I will tell you, if I win, I'm going to say it right now, and I'll say it to you, those 200,000 people, and they have to know this, and the world will hear it, are going back. We're not going to accept 200,000 people that may be ISIS. You know, when you look at the migration, there's so many men, and there's so many men that look strong to me. I'm pretty good at analyzing things. I say, where are all the women? You see so few women, and they look strong, and they're young. Number one, why aren't they fighting for their country? Number two, what's going on? Why are we accepting all of these thousands? Now that I heard a number today, 200,000. That's almost like, are these people ISIS? We have no idea who they are. We have no idea where they come from. And I'm just telling you right now, they may come in through the weakness of Obama, but they're going out if I become president. They will not stay here. They're going back to Syria, whether it's safe zones or whatever, but they're going back to Syria.
You mentioned Iran, and Iran is now talking prisoner swap with the 19 Iranians, that there would be a prisoner swap. What do you think of a prisoner swap?
I said it yesterday. I tweeted, and I had so many responses, thousands and thousands of, as we say in the modern day age, retweets. We're talking about 3 prisoners, because they're not even talking about the 4th. I don't know what happened to the 4th. We have 4 over there. And they're talking now, Iran wants to negotiate, but they want a lot. Number one, they want 19 different people for our 3. Right. But still, nobody's mentioning the 4th. Who is the 4th that they're not mentioning?
So then what is the deal?
Well, here's the thing. We should have had those people back as part of this horrible deal we made. It would still be a horrible deal. But we're giving them $150 billion, 24-day inspection. The whole thing is a horror show, right? It couldn't be any worse. It's going to lead to, you talk about a powerful Iran. Iran now is with Russia. We've unified Russia with Iran. They were never unified like they are now. We've had the dumbest foreign policy in the history of this country. We have unified the Middle East. We've unified Russia, by the way, with China. You know, from the time I'm a young man, I always heard it would be a terrible thing if Russia and China ever got together. Yeah. Guess what? They're together now. You know why? Because of oil. Because Obama has done things to Russia where they ended up unifying with China. So everything is wrong with our foreign policies.
So what do you do then? Because people are asking you to give more specifics about foreign policy.
Well,
so
I have said it, and I've said it 100 times. I don't like talking so specifically. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that like a fool. I'm going to do this, this, this. I want them to understand. I want to be unpredictable. You know, there was a great article about me in the recent past, very recent past actually, and one of my competitors in business said, you know, the toughest thing about Trump is he's so unpredictable. We don't know what he's going to do. I made a great deal, and I took it away from people that thought they had it, and it was very nice. But frankly, the competitor said with respect, not as a negative, right. They said Trump is totally unpredictable. And I want to be unpredictable. So when you say, what would you do? You know, I said I'd take the oil. Okay, you know that. And a lot of people, stupid people, said, oh, what a terrible thing. Well, now who has the oil? ISIS has so much oil. They're paying people to be their soldiers. They've got money, and it's because largely of the oil. I said take the oil. And I was against going into Iraq in the first place. Because but Don, it's very important. I was against, I'm the most militaristic person of anybody running, okay? But you have to know when to use it. And ideally, you become so strong you don't have to use it. Now, I was against going in. Nobody else was against going in. Going in was a mistake because, and I said it, you just checked 2004 Reuters in like June.
I know you said it.
No, it's very important because it's called vision. I said you're going to destabilize the Middle East and Iran is going to take over Iraq if you do this. And that's exactly what happened. And by the way, an offshoot, ISIS also happened because of that.
So that's all well and good, and I appreciate you saying
Well, I know, but I was the one that predicted it, and I was the one that said it. Nobody else said
But
it.
Americans who are trying to assess who their next president is going to be at least want to know that you have some sort of plan or have some sort of idea as to what you would do, and that's not...
I have an
you have to give some
absolute idea.
specifics.
Now, by the way, ideas change. It's like on policy. And the reason I say I was against it, because I think it's important for people to know that I predicted exactly what was going to happen with Iran and Iraq. And I think that's very important for people to know. A lot of the voters, I may be leading in the polls by a lot, but a lot of the voters still don't even know that. I made the best prediction as to, I made not only the best prediction, I made a totally accurate prediction. And as you and I are sitting here, Iran is talking to Iraq, and Iran is taking over Iraq, and they're taking over the second largest oil fields. You know, I don't know if you know, Iraq has tremendous reserves underground. Iran's going to get everything. After we lost all those lives and all that money, because we're led by very stupid people.
And we are just getting started. Up next, are we going to see a kinder, gentler Donald Trump on the campaign trail? Plus, he tells me how he's going to pay for his tax plan. And later, Trump, the family man, what he says about his youngest son, Barron.
Barron loves New York, and he keeps saying, Dad, do you think we'll have to go to Washington? I said, we've got a long way to go right now.
You are the front runner. You are leading the polls, most of them by double, by big numbers. And so some people are saying, you know what?
Finally you say that.
I've been saying it, but some people say that you should, you may have the nomination. You should act like you have the job. You told our very own Aaron Burnett that, you know, sometimes, yeah, you acquiesce. It's a little bit childish. You know, maybe
I'm fighting a lot
more
of people.
Presidential.
No, but Don, I'm fighting a lot of people that are coming at me because I have good polls, and they, look, you have governors and senators that are at 1.
I just want to know
excuse me, you have a governor, many governors, and many senators that are at 1 and 2 and 3. And you have some polls that I'm at 36. Yeah. So when you see that, and I understand why, I think I do the same thing that they're doing, but all of a sudden they hit me. I mean, I get hit out of the blue by Rand Paul 2 weeks ago. I get hit by this guy Rubio. They hit me because they want to grab some of the attention.
But
or
my
whatever.
question is, if you and I saw you on Fox News, you kind of acquiesced a little bit too. Are we going to see a kinder, gentler Donald Trump?
You are, and I think it's much different once you get into the position. Look, I built a great company, and you don't do that by being, I have a great temperament. Although Jeb Bush said my tone is a little bit tough. This is a tough world. I mean, we can't have people of low energy. I use that expression. There are numerous people. It's not only Jeb. I mean, you have many people that are running that are low energy people. We don't have that choice. But in terms of temperament, I think I have a great temperament. I have a temperament that wins. I know how to win. That's what I've been doing all my life is I've been winning.
The former president, Bill Clinton, talked about the GOP race, and here's what he said.
You shouldn't be able to insult your way to the White House or use enough politically correct phrases to get your way to the White House on either side. And I think as the field winnows down, I hope it'll get more serious because the American people deserve some sense of what the heck you're going to do if you actually get the job, because the day after you take the oath of office,
it's yours.
You can't level an insult or you're not in an episode of Survivor. You're actually supposed to show up and run the show.
Okay,
what's your reaction?
Just so you understand. I mean, look, I've had tremendous success with The Apprentice. I did the book, The Art of the Deal, one of the most successful books of all time and business books of all time. I've had a great career. I've had a great amount of victory, and I've had a lot of fun doing it. But so when he sort of says, but with me, it's not about that. I've made hundreds and hundreds of deals that have been great deals. You know, we're talking about deals. We're talking about people.
What would you say to him?
And there's I'll tell you about him. There's no such thing as deals. It's people, because people are basically deals. You have to be able to read, and you have to be able to see what's going on. Most people can't do that. Okay, very, very few can do that. He is defending his wife. His wife has been very nasty to me. Every time she gets up, she makes a speech, she talks about something. I said this, I said that. She's been very nasty to me. I mean, I said she's the worst Secretary of State in the history, and a lot of people agree with that.
But you have complimented her before.
Kerry, by the way.
But you've complimented her before.
I have complimented, yeah. When I'm a businessman, I compliment everybody. I would compliment you because I want you to speak well of me, okay? When I'm a businessman, I've been look, as one magazine recently, I have been a world-class businessman. I deal all over the world. I'm successful all over the world. I compliment everybody. I'm not going to say bad about the Secretary of State, and then I'm doing a deal in whatever country I'm doing it. I'm in like 18 different countries right now. I'm nice to everybody.
But you don't think
Why would I not compliment her? Why would I not compliment her? And if you really look at it, the real problem is what has she done as Secretary of State? Now, she's hit me very hard, so I don't feel guilty. But everybody that I have hit, a lot of people say I hit hard, but I'm a counterpuncher. I never go first. When Rubio hit me, I didn't say anything bad about him. He hit me, and look, there's a guy. He's got a terrible record. He's got a lot of things going that are very bad, very weak on immigration. And I hit him hard. I hit Rand Paul hard. He came out of nowhere. I mean, he was, oh, Donald, you're so great. You're so wonderful. All of a sudden, like 3 weeks ago, he starts hitting me. The only time I go after people is when they hit me. I'm a counterpuncher. I don't want to hit them. I think it's bad for the Republican Party. I think it's bad for the whole process. And one of the bad things is that if I win, it's hard for them to support when you hit them that hard. But in the meantime, I have to win one before I look at the other. As far as Hillary is concerned, I don't feel guilty at all because she has been very nasty to me over the last 3 or 4 weeks in her speeches. So I'm going to hit back.
I have to ask you this, Mr. Trump, and again, as the leader of the free world, if you were to become the leader of the free world and you said, well, I'm going to compliment, do you think that's being disingenuous, that you're saying one thing and actually
No, I'm being
another?
honest. I'm being honest. When I'm in business as a very top business person, I'm not going to speak badly of senators. I get along with everybody. Hey, excuse me. I get along with the Democrats. I get along with the Republicans. I get along with Nancy Pelosi. I get along with Harry Reid. I get along with everybody.
Yeah.
I've dealt all my life. I've dealt at high levels of politics. And some of your people on your staff can tell you that are in this room right now. And I've done very well.
And you have done very well. And speaking of Forbes, they came out with the richest 400 wealthiest people. You were at 121. You have said your net worth is $10 billion and upwards. They have said $4.5 billion. That's your worth. Who's right?
They're so wrong, it's ridiculous. But that doesn't matter. Because as the expression, when you say what's the difference between $5 billion and $10 billion, probably, for the most part, nothing.
Well, $5 billion.
And they say, I have very low debt, I have tremendous cash flow, I have a wonderful company, I have the most iconic assets. They're totally off. They know they're off. And they told me they're
They said
way
they had
low.
a team of people who were investigating.
Yeah, team of people. First of all, they don't even know my assets. I'm a private company. I mean, they're investigating stuff. They hardly even know my assets. But they're way off. And they told me they're way low. But they want to be very conservative. So if they're close to $5 billion and they're being conservative, that's not the worst thing. What they have said, tremendous cash flow, tremendous cash, tremendous assets. My assets are among the best in the world. In real estate, there's nothing like what I have.
I wondered when you came out with your tax plan, if the tax plan that you had, to be quite honest, if it was actually good for Americans who tend to be on the lower end, which can be black and brown people, right, who are on the lower end, because they won't have to pay taxes, right? And
it is good. And it's going to create jobs,
yeah,
which is very important.
People who make less than $25,000, individuals, or couples less than $50,000, zero taxes. Ben Carson said this morning that your plan is a bad one. He said everyone, even the poorest Americans, should pay taxes. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, again, Ben is somebody I've been really getting along with very well. I like him. But this is not his wheelhouse. Jobs is not for Ben. Putting our country back together in terms of jobs and incentives so people work. I've created tens of thousands of jobs. That's what I do, Don. I build these incredible places and this incredible company, but I've employed tens of thousands of people. Right now, I have thousands of people working for me. Ben's strength is not jobs, and which worries me because we have to make new trade deals. China's ripping us, all of these countries, Japan, Mexico, Brazil. Every country that we do business with is taking our base, they're taking our jobs. That's not his expertise, and unless we're going to bring our jobs back to these shores, we're never going to make it as a country.
The question is about, you're talking about no more death tax. Is that, should you, someone like you, as
well, the
much
death
wealth,
tax, the problem with the death tax, it's a family.
Let me get the question in.
Go ahead.
Someone like you who has so much money, should you be able to leave your entire fortune to your family? Because they say it's un-American. That would create an aristocracy here.
Well, first of all, I'm not. I'm going to give a lot of money to charity and all of that, and many people in my position
someone
do
wealthy
that.
may not do that.
But
like
let me
you.
just explain. There have been so many families where they have a business, and it's a business which isn't a lot of cash, and but there's a lot of assets, and it's got to be run in a certain way. These families have been devastated because they've been forced to mortgage up. They've been forced to do all sorts of things. They've been devastated. But maybe almost more importantly than that, it's really a double and even a triple tax. By the time you get to the death tax, it's a double tax. The tax has already been paid. So if you think about, they've been paying taxes over the years, and the tax has already been paid. You can make the case it's been paid twice. So the death tax is something that actually is very, very popular. People like farmers. They have a farm. They make an income. The farmer's worth X dollars, but they don't make that much income. These people are devastated. They're forced to mortgage up on the farm. They end up losing their farm to the banks. The death tax is a very important element because it's very unfair to a lot of people. And again, it's double taxation.
Okay, so what people wonder is how you're going to pay for these tax cuts you propose, because hosts of tax experts say the deficit is going to skyrocket by trillions of dollars, by 9 to 10 trillion over a decade if your plan goes into effect. How are you going to pay for the
Because I have one of the great scalpels in history. Now, it's different from Ben Carson's scalpel. He was an excellent doctor. But I have a scalpel for business. Mm-hmm. We have costs that are outrageous. I'm going to name over the next couple of weeks, I'm putting out some of the most incredible money that was spent for things that should have cost a few dollars, where they spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. The money that we are losing to theft, to incompetence, to everything is tens of billions of dollars. So I'm going to be doing a lot of cutting. For instance, Jeb Bush loves Common Core. I don't. I don't think bureaucrats from Washington should be running education in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, and every place else, okay? And we're going to cut out huge sections of, as an example, the Department of Education. Environmental protection. It's disgusting what they've done. They've stopped work, and even a couple of weeks ago, they destroyed a river. They go in, they destroyed the river themselves. They opened up the lock. So here's the thing. There's tremendous cutting that goes with my tax plan that I haven't talked about yet, but that'll be phase 2. So we're going to have a government that's going to be much leaner, much better, much meaner, but it's going to meaner in the sense of it's going to be efficient. But Don, there is so much money that is being wasted. And when you cut the taxes, you're going to create jobs. We're going to take jobs away from China. We're going to take jobs away from Japan, where they're sending us millions of cars. We get nothing for it. One thing very important, I just did this last week. I told my staff I want to go immediately. I want accurate numbers, very important, on the deficits with China, Japan. We lose almost $400 billion a year to China, $75 billion a year to Japan, $50 billion a year to Mexico, many, many other countries. We lose with everybody. We don't win anymore.
When we come right back, a tough question for Donald Trump. Is he homophobic? See how he answers. Now, things personally, and this is what you're here, but you say that I'm fair to you, right?
I think you have been generally fair. Yeah, you've been unfair, but so has everybody else.
Okay, all right. So you should tell me. You should call me when I'm unfair and tell me about it. But here's the thing that I want to know, and because I think that it could have been handled differently, but you did it your way. You're heading back to New Hampshire, right, for the first time for a town hall. Since the guy at the town hall said the president is a Muslim, that we have problems with the Muslims in this country, and we have to get them out. If something like that comes up again, would you handle it differently?
I don't think so, no. No, I don't think so. I don't know who the gentleman was, but he obviously disliked President Obama very much. I don't think I have to defend President Obama. He was very strong on his stance, and still I don't know who this guy was.
But some would say you're defending
I will tell you this.
That you're not defending
he was well,
you're defending the
remember
truth.
This. You're not saying I defended. I didn't respond,
Yeah.
okay? It's the first time in my life I've caused controversy, but not responding. I thought I was very good. I didn't respond, and I ended up causing controversy. He said, Muslims are a problem. Okay? That's what he said. Okay. Are they a problem? You tell me. And I say, I don't see the people, and I use it often, that knocked down the World Trade Center going back to Sweden. Okay? So he said, Muslims are a problem. That was part of what he said. Well, I mean, can you make the case that it's been tough? And by the way, most Muslims, I know many, are great people, just so you put it on the record.
So let's say, do you think Muslims are a problem?
Well, I think a certain segment are certainly a problem, and unless you want to be so politically correct where you want me to say, oh, absolutely not. I mean, you have ISIS, you have the migration, you have all of this stuff, you have, you know, a lot of people think you're going to end up with World War III over the Middle East. I've heard that for 25 years. There's something going on when you see beheadings. I mean, beheadings, we haven't seen that since medieval times, beheadings. You see dunkings, they call them dunkings, drownings, where they put people in a cage, dump them in the ocean. There's something going on.
Yeah.
So when he said Muslims are a problem, am I supposed to say, oh, look, again, you know, you probably won't put this part. I have great friendships with many people who are Muslim, living in this building, okay, living here. But I have great friendships. They're phenomenal people. And most of them are like that.
Have they
but
asked you about your comments? What do you say to them?
By the way, they think we have a bigger problem than we do. Okay? They think we have a bigger problem because there's a radical Islamic group of people that is brutal. And unless our country gets tough and smart, and unless we have the right leadership done, we're in big trouble.
I hear people say, and you know, many people will say, oh, well, you know, it's just Republicans. It's just, you know, people who are really far right who are talking and supporting Donald Trump. I hear liberals talking about you. I hear Hispanics talking about you. I hear gay people talking about you. And they say, I like what he has to say, but I'm just concerned. If I ask you this question, will you answer directly? Do you think that you are homophobic?
No, I think that I'm a very nice person. I love people. And I have to tell you, when you look at those polls, and look at the poll that just came, but it's across the board.
Do you think that
you know who loves me? The Tea Party. The evangelicals. You know, I'm leading with evangelicals. I love them. They love me. I'm Presbyterian. I'm Protestant. And they like me. And you know why? Because they think I'm going to do a great job for the country. They think I'm going to do a great job for the country. But if you look, because you're making it sound like it's far right. The far right does like me.
It's not.
The far right does like me. But you know who else likes me?
I'm saying your appeal
Democrats
is
like
broader
me,
than
liberals
people.
like me. It's straight across the board.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Your
And
appeal is
people are
broader than
amazed.
people think
Yeah.
it is. So let's just
People
get
are
this
very
out of the way.
surprised by that.
So do you think you appeal to African Americans? You're not. Some people may perceive you as racist. Answer that. Do you?
So I just did a speech for the African American Chamber of Commerce in South Carolina, and they just wrote the most beautiful letter I think I've received in a long time, saying how unfairly I got treated by the press. I just showed up at an event that they asked me to do. I did it as a favor to a couple of friends of mine who happened to be African American who asked me to go. The dais was packed with people, packed with people. They were all up front. They actually, I made a mistake because I said they ran from their seats. They actually formed there. I could hardly get into the room. It was a great event. And CNN in particular made me look bad. And they wrote a letter, a copy of which I'll give you, which was so beautiful, saying how what a great event. It was sold out. It was packed. It was the best event they've ever had. And CNN made me look bad. It was very, and it wasn't my event. I had nothing to do with it. I just did a favor. I showed up because they showed some empty seats in the back. The fact is, everybody went forward because, in fact, I've never had a speech quite like this. I was surrounded by a tremendous number of people. And in the letter, he said it was totally sold out. It's the most successful event. And what I'm saying is the press is very, very unfair.
Okay.
But what does happen and what people are surprised at is in every one of my polls, not just today's wonderful poll from USA Today, but every single one of the polls, people like you, I think you're one of them, it's straight across the board.
Yeah.
I get support from everybody.
And you have said that you're not anti-Muslim. So thank you for answering those questions, because I think it's important to clear things up.
Okay,
Don't you
fine.
think it's important to get to the truth? Let's talk about Planned Parenthood, because
Okay.
you have said that Planned Parenthood, they do some good things, you say. Are you surprised to see what's spilling out in Congress now with Republicans?
No, because
trying
they
to
feel
defund it?
very, very people that are Republicans, like myself, think it's disgusting, some of the tapes that came out and some of the views. Now, you know, they're fighting it. Planned Parenthood is fighting it. But if you look at what's going on with those tapes, anybody that watches those tapes cannot be a fan of Planned Parenthood.
But what our reporting
And you know
shows...
what? They had bad representatives, because when you watch some of those doctors talking so cavalierly about what obviously is human life, I think it's disgraceful.
Okay, but Carly Fiorina has made this a big point of her campaign, talking about the video, right? The Planned Parenthood video.
Well, that was a different video, though. That's a different, you know, there were some videos that were, that was really a video, I guess, that they say was not a correct video.
Right.
But
That
there
was
were
not
plenty
correct.
of, I don't know anything about that.
What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, she's been hit very hard on that because they say it wasn't correct. I don't know. I mean, I can't speak to that video. But I've seen some of the other videos that were absolutely correct, and I think it's disgraceful what they're doing.
Next, Trump opens up about his children and his wife Melania. What we can expect and when we can expect to see her on the campaign trail. The answer when we come back. Your son, Donald Jr.
Good.
I have said before that you don't see the Trump kids, in and out of clubs or in the tabloids, or you have done, what does that say about you, the kids you have raised and who they are?
Well, I have children. Everybody has wonderful children. We all love our children.
Is that a good measure of who Donald Trump is?
Well, I think I've done a very good job. I've been very strict. I've been very tough. I've always said no drugs, no alcohol. I even say no cigarettes. To a point where I remember Ivanka, she was like, didn't even know what drugs and alcohol and things were. But she'd say, Dad, you drive me crazy with this. You drive me crazy. But I would say it all the time, every week, no drugs, no alcohol, no cigarettes. And my kids are good kids. They're smart kids. They work hard. They don't have to work, and they work hard. They went to good colleges. They were very good students. I have very good kids. And one of the things I'm most proud of, a lot of my friends and some very successful people have called me, could you speak to my children? Yeah. Because your children have been good. Now, knock on wood, I hope it continues that way. Life is fragile. I hope it continues that way.
I think you're past the point where it goes bad.
I'm past a certain point, but I do have good children.
So let's talk about Melania, right?
Okay.
Your wife. She has said this. She said this to People magazine recently. Even if you give him advice talking about you, he will maybe take it in, but then he will do it the way he wants to do it. You cannot change a person. Did you like what she had to say? Do you agree?
Well, I think it's probably true. Look, I have my own mind. I do listen to lots of people, and then it goes through that, and I do what I think is right. But I am very open, and I think what she also means is that I'm very open to listening to a lot of different ideas and a lot of different people.
Do you think, we saw her, coming down the escalator with you when you made your announcement, standing by your side. Are we going to see more of her on the campaign trail?
I think very much so. She's very much into the whole women's health issues. I think she'll be amazing, and I think Ivanka is going to be amazing. And they actually told me, because I have such great respect for women, and I cherish women, and some people say, oh, you shouldn't say cherish. Hillary Clinton said, you shouldn't say cherish. Why? I cherish women. I so respect them and so cherish them. I will be better on women's health issues than anybody. But one of the things that both Melania and Ivanka told me is, Dad, you should explain your love for women and your respect for women. And they're going to be out very much on the campaign trail.
What kind of a first lady do you think Melania would be?
I think she will be incredible.
Yeah.
I think she will. She's got a tremendous heart. I think she'll be incredible.
She said, listen, my job right now, I'm not on the campaign trail, is because, my husband has gone a lot. He's out campaigning, and I need to be at home with Barron because Barron needs... What does Barron think of all of this?
Well, Barron loves New York, and he keeps saying, Dad, do you think we'll have to go to Washington? I said, got a long way to go right now. But he loves his school, and he loves New York. He's got a lot of friends. So right now, I think he would be very happy to stay in New York. But he asked me, do you think we'll have to go? And I always tell him we have a long way to go.
Donald Trump.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Don.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.